Hi everyone, it's Jeanette Bell. I'm your instructor for History 105. Let me adjust this real quick. Thank you. Okay, here are Lesson 1 discussion forum comments. This is also, these comments are also hopefully going to help you for future discussion board comments, just little hints and tricks like that. First of all, you're doing a great job, okay? So you're doing good. From what I can see from the 2 discussion assignments, you're doing just fine. Make your your comments and your responses meaningful and thoughtful, though, okay? Try to avoid saying, "Oh, I agree," or "great post," because that's just, there's not much to that, okay? These are supposed to be conversations among historians, you guys. Also, another hint, write everything up in Word as a doc and then copy and paste it into the assignment. This is good for those of you who might have spotty internet connection or when there's a storm or other problems like that. Also, if you've been idling in Blackboard for 15 minutes or longer, it automatically kicks you out. Okay, so just that's just a little hint that I had to learn, that I have to write everything up in Word and then copy and paste it into whatever form I'm working on or assignment. All right, now keep in mind, please, that OTC is not a religious institution. The classes that you take here are not geared towards any particular religion or set of religious beliefs. So when I teach world history, I'm teaching from the perspective of a secular, scholarly, or academic point of view. When we study religions in the class, we do so in an objective manner as much as possible, okay? Please keep in mind that the questions I give you in the discussion board are not test questions. They're there to get the conversation going. Do not answer them bullet point by bullet point. You're supposed to take the primary source material from the textbook and figure out what in the world this is as a group. Okay, this is your only group type activity. I used to have a wiki project, but that didn't work out. So this is the only group project that you guys have. Some of the material is really complicated, complex, hard to understand, hard to figure out. So that's why you guys are going to work together and kind of sort through this and do the best you can to figure out what in the world this primary source is. If you want to bring in outside material, do so, as long as it's academic, okay? I've had some really good outside material brought in by students that turned out to be a really good help for everybody. Now, what is a primary source? Okay. Historians use primary sources to reconstruct the past. But what does that mean? It is a text, usually written down, that was created by the people of that culture and tells their story. Examples of primary sources are myths, treaties, accountancy documents such as taxes, bill of sales, calendars, art, music, royal and commoner records, and so on. Okay, those are primary sources. Modern day history books, Wikipedia articles, encyclopedia articles, History Channel or PBS documentaries are not primary sources. They are one person's interpretation of those primary sources, but they in and of themselves is not a primary source. Okay? So, when we look at primary sources, we look at them in terms of a variety of questions, including who was the author, who composed it, who wrote it, what is the author, composer, or writer saying, what does the text say, okay? Why did he or she write this? Who was his or her audience or reader? What is the culture that produced this document or text? When was it first written? Or when is its earliest known text written? Okay. When was it translated? Was it translated? Why was it translated? Who translated it? What is the need? This is the most important thing. What is the need that the document fulfills? Social structure, political structure, moral structure, identity making. What is the need? What is its purpose for that culture? Why would they spend time creating this? There's a need here, and you've got to figure out what that is, okay? What is the context of the document? In other words, what culture produced it, the geographical region, what's going on in the rest of the world that might influence the creation of this document. And then, of course, any other questions that might help to analyze the text. That's what you guys are doing with these primary texts in the discussion forum and then on your own in the term paper. Ooh, term paper. We'll talk about that later. I do want you to make connections with the modern day, okay? However, none of this class material is supposed to question your personal beliefs. In the case of the Noah flood story from Genesis and the Epic of Gilgamesh from Mesopotamia, I want you, in the discussion forum, I want you to pick up where the text began to make connections and think about the transfer of ideas from culture to culture. Trade isn't the only thing, or trade of goods, I'm sorry, isn't the only thing that gets exchanged among cultures. Ideas do too. Theology is only relevant when we ask what needs does the revision or adaptation of one religious story fulfill for those who are adopting it. Okay, otherwise theology really doesn't fit in this class. All right. Now, some background on the Noah flood. The Judahites are the people who were removed from Jerusalem and Judah, and they were removed to Babylon and Persia in the 6th century, as opposed to the Israelites, who were the people removed to Assyria from Shechem and Samaria in the 7th century. There are actual several versions in the Hebrew Bible, also known as the Old Testament, of the flood story. Did you know that? Why is that? Well, because the Hebrew Bible, or Old Testament as we now know it, is a conglomeration, artfully and brilliantly done, for the most part, of two distinct peoples who lived in the Levant, also known as the Palestine, modern-day Israel and Lebanon, that area. They were the Southerners, located in Judah, and the Northerners, located in Israel. These two peoples decided to combine forces and create a united kingdom, living as one people as much as possible, okay? It was not always a smooth merging. This is demonstrated by the different details of those shared stories. For instance, in the Noah story, was it a raven? Was it a dove? Was it 3 days? Was it 7? Etc. Some of the two peoples were nomadic herders, while others were settled farmers and city dwellers. That's demonstrated in the Cain and Abel story, demonstrated in Abraham buying a burial plot even though he was given the land according to the covenant, as well as Joshua's need to conquer, and many other stories. This means that the two different peoples had different needs and structures as shown in the Bible. Okay, so they have different needs and structures. The Northerners, the Southerners, the herders, and the more settled farmers. Okay, now, this is the funny thing. The glue that held them together were the stories of the Bible. These stories were to create an identity of being different from other people. This is called marginalization, creating an other that needs to be kept apart from us. Other, my air quotes, other and us. Okay? Now, it isn't a religion thing, okay? It's a basic biological defense mechanism that is programmed into the oldest part of our brain, the reptilian part of our brain. And if we didn't have this, we would not have survived as a species. Okay? It has helped us to survive as a species. And the human species is what? Homo sapiens sapiens. Okay? That's us. It's also the basis, however, for prejudice and patriarchy. We're going to talk more about that later on. So here are some questions to ponder as you're going through the discussion forum. What was the point in telling this story? Now, is it worth our while to try to scientifically prove that there was a flood? This is a religious story, okay? What are the reasons for having written it? Who would have heard the story? When is the earliest known date of the Epic of Gilgamesh? Who wrote the epic? Why? What needs, either religious or mundane, does the story fulfill for the people? Okay? Now, what are the similarities and differences between the stories? Why is that? Why would the Jews use that particular story? And they can officially be called Jews once they are in Babylon during the captivity or exile. Why would they use that story? Why would they adapt that story, and what needs does it fulfill? Maybe those needs are different than what the people in Mesopotamia used the Epic of Gilgamesh for. That's for you guys to figure out, all right? So that's all for now. Keep up the good work. If you want, I'm going to try and create a list of these questions so that you can print them out and kind of use them as a not a rubric, but a resource to help you with your discussion posts. And as always, if you have any questions, please email me, bellej@otc.edu. Remember that I'm not online on weekends, and this coming Monday is a holiday, so I won't be online officially on Monday. Of course I will be, but officially we don't have to be in class on Monday. So have a great day off. All right, so that's all for now. See you later.